Well, hello everyone, and you join us here today to talk about the rules, Tom, because rules are important and must be obeyed. Do you know about the rules, Tom?
Usually I'm a stickler for the rules. I think watch rules are very important. So, you must learn your watch rules.
Absolutely right. If you don't follow the watch rules, you will go to watch prison and suffer a lifetime of watch pain and agony. So what we're going to do today is lay out 5 watch rules that we think every watch enthusiast should follow. Here we go, Tom. Are you ready for rule number 1?
I sure am.
This one is probably one of the ones that a lot of people overlook, and I don't respect them for it. Keep your watch clean, Tom.
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely keep your watch clean. If your strap starts to smell like vinegar, it's time to clean your watch.
I thought you were going to come up with something that rhymed with vinegar then, to make that into a little bit of a mnemonic.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know what rhymes with vinegar.
That's a good question.
One for the comments. If your strap smells like vinegar, something, something, something. Best answer to that wins a like from us. But absolutely, you keep your watch clean. There are 2 really good reasons to keep your watch clean, Tom. One, general hygiene. Your skin does like to relieve itself of the dead parts, and those gather in all the little nooks and crannies of your watch and can create some interesting flora and fauna that grows in there that you won't be able to take abroad. But the real problem with gunk in your watch is for bracelets and things like that. You're adding an abrasive goo that can wear down those moving parts over time, and your bracelet can start to get looser or even kind of grittier and stickier. And so it's a good idea to keep it clean. Do you know how to keep your watch clean, Tom?
I was just going to ask, what's best practice for keeping it clean?
The best advice is to use a very, very lightly damp, very soft, like an old toothbrush, maybe like a bristled brush like that, and you can just gently work into the nooks and crannies. Obviously with a dive watch with the crown screwed down, you can run it under the tap, but for a lot of watches that aren't water resistant or very lightly water resistant, perhaps a vintage watch, keeping it very, very lightly damp is ideal. You don't want to have any sort of standing water on the watch that could damage it. Also, if you were to go diving out in the salty, salty sea, Tom, you should rinse your watch off afterwards too. Get all of those salt crystals that are going to form. You know how you get out of the sea and you feel all crispy when you dry in the sun?
Dirty, yeah.
Yeah, same with the watch. You don't want that.
Good advice.
I'd take it.
I'm still thinking about that vinegar thing. Clean it with your finger.
If your strap smells like vinegar, put it in the bin with vigour.
Pretty good.
Thanks.
Right, I've got one for you. This is a good rule. Now, we watch enthusiasts can be a fickle bunch, and we can tire easily of our timepieces. So we can often find ourselves hoarding new watches that we maybe impulse buy.
Sounds like you're speaking from experience, Tom.
Please employ this rule when you start to feel the itch for a new watch. Get yourself a new strap for your current ones and see how you feel, because you could potentially save money in the long run. A new strap will freshen up an old favourite and make it feel like new again. Just a little sort of style change, makes it feel a bit fresh. It's sort of similar to changing the background on your mobile phone desktop or getting a new case for it. It gives you a little bit more longevity. But that would be one of my rules is, before you buy a whole nother watch, buy yourself a little strap for your current one and see how you feel.
If your watch feels like crap, buy a new strap.
Sure, I don't think we have to rhyme all of the rules.
Well, I'm going to go with it. The whole while it works.
Okay.
I will chuck in a little word of advice there. Don't do what I did and buy a light grey suede strap, because it will be a dark grey suede strap by the second day.
Oh.
Tom, I've got a third rule for you. Watch servicing. Everyone's like, should I? Shouldn't I? The watch brands say I should do it every single day. My granddad said he's never serviced his watch once, and he served through 3 world wars.
Right.
Here's the rule, right?
Sounds dubious.
The watch brands will give you their advice. Like Rolex says every 10 years. That's pretty solid. But if you're kind of thinking, like, well, what's the trigger? When do I have to do it? When don't I have to do it? Your watch will be issued with a deviation of accuracy. So say with Rolex, it's like +2, -2 seconds per day. If you see that drift off, if it's running faster than that or slower than that, that's when you have to start thinking about a service.
Right.
In the old days, the oils they used to put in the watch to keep it all lubricated, they would coagulate over time. But modern oils are much more effective at staying at the right viscosity for longer. But that doesn't mean that your watch isn't still generating kind of fine metal particulates at a very small scale that increase that wear and tear. So you don't want to leave it forever either.
Okay, cool. So if you find yourself having to keep setting the time on your watch every now and then, it's probably time for a service.
Yeah, and a service collectively can mean a number of things. It might mean it needs disassembling, cleaning, reassembling, re-oiling. It might need demagnetizing. It might just need a little bit of regulation to get it running right. It might have taken a knock or something that's just shifted it slightly. There could be a broken part in there very, very rarely, but the best thing is if you see that deviation in time, to throw it under a watchmaker's nose and he'll get you back on your toes.
Okay, sounds good. Back on your toes?
Yep. Got anything better than that?
If, no. I'm abandoning this format.
If you're going to do that, then you have to tell me another rule, Tom.
Okay, all right. So this is a rule that I have been terrified into remembering. If you own a mechanical watch with a date change function, you may find yourself having to change the date on at the end of a month of 30 days onto the 1st. And you'll want to be very careful not to do this between the times of 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. because you can foul it up something fierce if you do that.
You're absolutely right. It does vary from watchmaker to watchmaker. It's all about the engagement of the date changing mechanism. The quick set date in a watch, i.e. when you pull the crown to the first position and the date changes quickly, you are then forcing the date to go round. And if the date mechanism is engaged, the little finger that nudges it forward will snap off.
Right.
Now, some watchmakers, their date changes are instantaneous, and so you'd be very unlucky to do it in the same fraction of a second. Other manufacturers, the date will start changing at just before midnight and will still be changing by 2 in the morning. So the 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. thing is really just a window of possibility that a bunch of different manufacturers could fall in just to be safe. It doesn't mean that you aren't allowed to change the date of your watch when the actual time is around midnight. You can change the date on your watch whenever you like. It's just the time as represented by the watch.
Right, yeah.
If it is midnight, you can move the time on your watch to past 4 a.m. and change the date. Or you can just move the hands around until the date changes with the normal date changing process.
Yeah, it's not like Gremlins where you should never change the date of your watch after midnight or because it will turn into something.
Well, maybe. I don't know, I've never tried it. And neither shall you, dear viewer and listener.
Yeah.
Because if you change your date, you'll get a lot of hate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good one.
Thanks. Rule number 5. A lot of people are very aware that you should screw down the crown on a dive watch before you submerge it.
That makes sense.
Most watches will have a pull-out crown, it just clicks in and out, and those will usually not be very water resistant. The ones that are water resistant have a crown that screws down so you can gain more sealage at higher pressures. What a lot of people don't realise, however, are the dangers of leaving a crown unscrewed or pulled out just in the general atmosphere. I don't know if you know, Tom, but in the air, there is water. It's not very much of it. It's not like, you can drink by opening your mouth and breathing. But there is enough in there that over time, if you leave a watch crown pulled out or unscrewed, it can get in there.
Yeah.
Particularly on a humid day. Particularly if you leave your watch on the side and you go and have a shower and all the steam fills the room up. So for the last rule I think we're going to chuck in today, make sure your crown is always secured down.
Yeah, fine.
Push it in, screw it down, only have it out when you're adjusting it.
What if it's on the side with the crown unscrewed next to a cactus? The cactus would be absorbing the moisture in the air more than the watch, so it might be all right. That might be a good counterbalance. If you are very forgetful and leave your crown unscrewed, get yourself a cactus and then your air will be less moist. I don't know if that's true.
Well, 1, Tom, that didn't rhyme, and 2, that's a risk I'm not willing to take.
Yeah, and 3, what am I talking about?
Well, there you go, dear viewer and listener. 5 rules that you should follow if you intend to be or are already a watch enthusiast. If you have any other rules or some better rhymes to remember them with, pop them down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, comment and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.